Hey, I'm Dan, and this is Dan's Planes. So I've made sure on the Blackhorse Zero I bought, already built, that the low rates match the manual. The manual's high rates I set as my mid, and then my high rates I went that much more than the manual high rates, just in case. So radio should be set. I did a center of gravity recheck, and I thought the seller had said it was balanced, but when I rechecked it, trust but verify, it was tail heavy, to where it seems to want, first of all, the batteries, the 3 batteries, moved away from here, here, and here, all 3 of them up against the back of the firewall. So I've made kind of a brick of batteries, and I epoxied a Velcro strap to underneath the bottom of the motor mount. That way it'll snake in through the sides, and I can push it on top of the batteries, which have 2 pieces of foam underneath it, so it'll get squished and be nice and tight. And even with that, I still need, I believe, about 13.2 ounces of weight on the outside of the firewall. So I needed to get weight that would be easy to install and also look decent. And unfortunately, my P47 was totaled this week, which then means I've got freed up weight. This was 14 point something ounces, so I might have to trim a portion of this off with a hacksaw blade, or it may end up being just a little bit nose heavy, and I'd rather have nose heavy than tail heavy. But to test it, I need to put on these jigs, and I can't tell you, I guess 2 or 3 times now in my exuberance I've gone to put the wings on and got them all put in and screwed down tight, and realized, yeah, I hadn't put the jig on. So got to loosen up the wings, pull them out a bit, and flip it over, put these jigs on, flip it back over, close up the wings, tighten them, flip it back over again, and then these jigs will have string going through here, which is this string here, which then gets pulled by a rope, which I've put an eye hook in the ceiling, and then I can lift the plane and let it dangle there. And I used, guess you can't see it in the dark here, it's nighttime out, but there are rivet lines, so along the rivet lines I taped a level in place, because this particular rivet line goes all the way through to the back, to the tail, so that made it pretty easy. So I'm gonna flip this over again. I've already had the spinner prop and cowl off, so I could epoxy that that Velcro strap in place, and I wanted to paint the prop. It was just a wood prop, and I'm pretty sure Zeros had black props, but probably should have checked that beforehand, but oh well. I'm not sure if they've got yellow on the tips, but I always like that, so I might throw some of that on there. Alright, so anything else on this? Oh, yeah, so what a cool feature on this is the retract unit for the electric retracts has a button here that you can press, although you need something small enough to go in the hole to press it. You can press it after you've attached your battery, and it'll take the retracts down or up without having to have your radio all hooked up. So that is sweet. You just hook up your retracts, hook up your battery, and then you can hit that switch. So pretty cool. Alright, so this is going to be wrapping up on the final checks, and once I find the right weight, then I'm going to have to take off all the front end parts again and epoxy the weight and or strap it in, bolt it in, whatever I got to do. And it already has a chunk of weight that looks like this in the front. Alright, I'll give updates later. Well, she's coming out just slightly nose heavy, but just ever so slightly. So maybe the 2-part adhesive and 2 plastic ties threw off my weight, but either way, she is good to go now. So all that's left is to maiden. Okay, I double checked the weight and I tried the 14 point whatever ounce, and it was too heavy. I went through and did it by grams instead. I needed 372 grams. I came up with 371.9, so I will take that using a hacksaw and estimating. Pretty good. So visually it looks level, and looking at my bubble under here that you can't see because there's no light, the bubble is in the center. So she's higher on one side than the other laterally, but I'm not worried about lateral balance right now. I'm just worried about center of gravity. I'll see how she flies, because maybe lateral balance could even help. So now I can remove, well, I guess I'll keep the jigs on there. So now I can remove the front end parts and get the lead weight. Let me slide this down. Get the lead weight adhered with the Loctite 2-part that I've got, since I don't have high saw, and probably a couple zip ties as well, just to make sure. And then she should be ready for the skies. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dan from Dan's Planes. I just want to share some content about RC planes, something I've been passionate about since childhood. I'm hoping I can teach something to someone, I can start some discussion and learn some things from others. So let's just have some fun and learn some things together. If you enjoyed what you watched, it would really help me out if you could like, subscribe, and share. And if you feel that it helped you out in some way, or it might help future viewers, I'd really appreciate it if you'd visit my Patreon page and become a patron. It's like throwing a $1 tip into a guitar case when you pass by. It helps to fund future content and future projects that I'll be working on. I plan to show some past content. I have some other flights and I have some fly-in events that I've been to. And I also plan to show future flights and future repairs, as well as building ARFs, and if I can ever get back to it, building my top flight Spitfire. So there's a lot of content to come, but it's viewers like you that are able to support what I'm doing, and by doing that, I'm able to spend more time creating that content in the future. So I'd really appreciate it. But either way, thanks for watching, and thanks for any support, and I wish you blue skies and good speed.